Bournemouth 2, Arsenal 0 in game week 8 of the Premier League season. And I, for one, am absolutely fuming after that result, fam. I just cannot come to level with what went down in that game against Bournemouth yesterday. Usually, my protocol is to record the same day my reactions and my review for the game so that my memories are quite fresh. But this time, I was just so short for words that I just decided to cap off the night with some good sleep. And 24 hours since the game has gone down, I still feel short for words. I still feel very disappointed in the way we played. No player actually turning up to the task on that particular pitch. So the story of the entire game was that Saliba was red carded in the 30th minute, sent off for basically interrupting clear goal scoring chance from the Bournemouth attacker. And then Bournemouth basically scored twice in the second half to dent our title hopes. It was the third in 8 games that an Arsenal player has been sent off due to a red card, and which is even more than the last 2 seasons combined, which goes to show how atrocious our disciplinary record has been this season. Now, I'm not going to sit here like other Arsenal fans who are just going to blame everything on the referee or the circumstances or anything. Yes, all the 3 red cards that we have received this season are kind of soft. You can say that these are borderline red cards, but we make our own luck. It's as simple as that. And if you give chances to referees to make that call for you, then there's some bit of problem that you're headed for. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we shouldn't have gotten that red card. I think it was a clear red card. He basically pulled back the Bournemouth player who had a clear sight at goal. It was a badly misjudged pass from Trossard. I don't know what he was thinking with that. And to be very honest with you, I cannot blame Saliba a lot on this one because he's been one of our star performers this season, and that was just instinct from my side. Trossard, if he had not passed the ball wayward, maybe Saliba wouldn't have to make the challenge. So it's kind of a sticky wicket to actually attribute that loss to one particular person. However, I feel that Saliba could have done better. He could have shown a bit more of a resolve there, try to track the attacker down. There was also Ben White closing in. There was also Raya there. So it could have been a different game, but again, not a lot to blame Saliba for that instance. Now let's start with the defensive side of the play in that game. Obviously, we did not have a defensively good game. There were, if I have to count, 5 to 6 silly mistakes that we committed, and it was not restricted to one player. A few mistakes by Raya, there was one by Trossard, there was some by Kiwior. Overall, the entire defensive unit did not seem to be very stable and strong in that game, and we just played into hands of Bournemouth. They were waiting for us to create those errors and to pounce on those errors, and I think their game plan was executed quite well. Both goals were scored from defensive mistakes, whether you consider Ryan Christie being absolutely unmarked during that corner kick that was taken by Bournemouth, or the royal fuck up by Kiwior to pass it back to Raya only to gift a penalty to James Clairvoyant. Now, both these were defensive mistakes. It could have easily been avoided on the day, as well as the red card. And that gets me to my original point that this was such a disappointing game. We deserved nothing from that game, to be very honest, with so many errors. The standards at which we are competing in the Premier League, when we consider the juggernauts in the league, who are basically your Manchester Cities, the Liverpools, the Chelseas, the scope for error is so less that if you have 5 to 6 big errors committed in such games, I don't think any Premier League opponent will spare you on their day. Now, coming to the attack side of the things, which had basically the same story as defense: no spark, no creativity without Saka and Odegaard in the middle. And this gets to a very important question that I want to raise to all of you watching this. Do you think Mikel Arteta should have been a bit more courageous in his team selection and probably gone with Nwaneri instead of Sterling in that right wing position? The only problem that I saw in that game was we had 3 midfielders there, and all 3 of the midfielders were defensive midfielders. If you consider Rice, Partey or Merino, all 3 very defensive minded midfielders. So there was no glue between the attack and the defense to stitch up those passes, carry the ball forward. Jesus and Sterling still feel that they should probably not even make the bench anymore. There's no impact. The way Jesus had started his career at Arsenal, there was so much of promise, and now we are not getting to see any of that. And these are the games where we need these players to step up when you know that Saka is not there, Martin Odegaard is not there, 2 people who are your biggest goal contributors of the season, they're not there. We wanted someone to step up on the day. We had been doing it for a while, but we wanted someone to step up on that day, and it just did not happen. Martinelli made a huge miss. It was, I think, the second half sometime, and it was a lovely through ball to Martinelli, which he just put in the way of Kepa Arrizabalaga to make a block. I think Martinelli should have done a lot better there. Again, not to blame too much on this particular instance, but in games where you are reduced to 10 men, fam, you're not going to get chances every 2 or 3 minutes. You are going to get maybe 1 or 2 chances in that entire game, and that's what happened. If I have to just look at the statistics for that game, if you look at the shots, obviously Bournemouth had 13 shots to Arsenal's 6, 4 shots on target for Bournemouth to Arsenal's 1. Arsenal led the position with 52% to Bournemouth's 48. More passes for Arsenal, obviously 439 to 405 for Bournemouth, and almost the same pass accuracy for both teams. Though the team statistics do not tell the entire story of the game, because the game changed significantly in the 30th minute when Saliba was sent off, and since then our attack and defense, everything just folded. Every player's performance was just so flat, and that's why it's so difficult to accept this fact that every player flatlined on that pitch. The only 2 bright sparks that I see, or the positives that I see from that game, were Declan Rice and Kai Havertz. Declan Rice made n number of runs. I don't exactly remember how many, but he was the one potential player that I thought who was actually trying to carry the ball forward, make things happen for Arsenal. But it's a game of 11 players and not just one, so he did not have support from anyone in that attack or the midfield line. And a huge shout out to Kai Havertz as well. I think he put in a great shift in that game. It's never easy for a centre forward after being reduced to 10 men to do the tracking back every time, and then also be prepared to sprint towards the opponent goal whenever there's a chance or an opportunity for a counter attack. But he was there everywhere. He was there in defense, he was there in the midfield, he was there in the attack, and I think he is one of the bright sparks or the positives that we can take from that game. Now, talking about the way forward, we have some important cluster of games coming up in very quick succession for us. We have the Shakhtar game as a part of the UEFA Champions League during the week, and then 2 important Premier League games lined up on 2 weekends, which is Liverpool and Newcastle. Now, I'm particularly concerned about the Liverpool game because Saliba's red card in this game means that he will be missing the Liverpool game, and I just cannot imagine how are we going to solidify that defense, who is going to play in what position. Of course, you will have maybe Tomiyasu or Timber returning by that time. These are just rumors, I'm not very sure about these. And I feel Timber could play on the right wing, and Ben White comes and plays the center defensive role while Calafiori is on the left. So that is what my possible combination in that defense is going to be. It's still important to see about the injury update of Saka. I think we need him badly now than ever. I think if he's not fit for the game against Liverpool, it'll be very difficult for us to take anything from that game, to be very honest with you. So it's a tough fixture of games that are coming ahead for us. As well as things stand after match week 8, showing you the top 10. Liverpool leading the line with 21 points, followed by Manchester City at 20, while Arsenal are at 3rd, 5 points behind Liverpool from that top spot in the Premier League. That's a big difference for Arsenal to cover, and given our recent form of injuries as well as or players missing out due to suspensions, it's just worrying signs for every Arsenal fan right now. And more than determination, it's hope that is going to get us through those games, those tough fixtures coming in the UCL, as well as the game against Premier League opponents Newcastle as well as Liverpool. So it's going to be a tough road ahead, but I will be here giving my match review for all these games. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on anything that I've covered in this particular bit of the video. I'm always interested in interacting with you all, and I would love to hear your comments. How are you feeling, Gooners, after that disappointing array of happenings at the Vitality Stadium? Because I still can't gather my thoughts very well around how we went and lost that particular game. The manner of the loss is something which bothers me a lot. I don't mind losing a game or two here and there because it's a part and parcel of the game. But the manner in which we lost yesterday, the poor disciplinary record that we have been showing this year, it's just too much for any Arsenal fan to consider right now.